kids, families, coming and going. It's a symptom of poverty because their families are avoiding rent. They get the free rent and then they move on. All right, move in the middle of the night. Trying to tell that to the political arena about why it's hard to keep track of some kids. They're talking about dropouts and things like this. They don't come tell us, oh, by the way, we're running away from our rent tomorrow night.
Yeah.
They'll end up in other schools just down the road. Sometimes they'll end up in other counties. For some reason, we have a direct pipeline with Ohio and New York and New Jersey. I don't understand that. How do they find us? We trade kids. But no matter what, even the migrant population that I have, many of my kids are illegal. And it's not just the Hispanics. Many of my African, Jamaican, and Haitian kids, they're illegal. And so part of that is their parents are following the order. When it rose up to 64%, 64% kids coming and going. The number, you have to have a secretary just to deal with the number of people coming and going all the time. What's happening is that in 2008 we dropped down to 48%. And this last year, in 2009, finished out this last school year, we're down to 38%. Those numbers just came out this week. And it's cool because we could feel this. And it's weird when I say something like that. If you work in a school, there's things that you can feel about the school. Just like I can tell you that we can change it. You can kind of tell that there's a change in the black population that's seeming to drop a little bit while the Hispanic population is rising. And but you also can feel that the kids are staying there, and sure enough, the numbers are showing it. And I'll come back to why that's such a huge deal in just a minute. Because I don't think it has as much to do with the economy as it has to do with something else. Now, I got an Uncle Larry, and I don't know if any of you have an Uncle Larry in your lives, but for those of you who are too young to understand what I'm about to tell you, I'm sorry. But I had Uncle Larry, and Uncle Larry, I loved to go to his house as a kid, because Uncle Larry had a pool, Uncle Larry had all the cool games. Uncle Larry always used to go to Kentucky, where his mom lived, and at that time you couldn't get, I grew up in Florida, at that time you couldn't get fireworks in the state of Florida. And Uncle Larry brought back fireworks in the state of Kentucky, right? And the only thing you had to do in order to play his games, in order to swim in the pool, in order to use the fireworks, is watch his slideshows. All right, slideshows. I'm not talking about PowerPoints here. Larry took pictures everywhere he went, and he put them in slides, all right? So I got to see his trip to the backyard. I got to see his trip to Six Flags a lot. I got to see his trip to Kentucky. I got to see his trip to California, all of this. And all you did as a little kid is you said, yeah, go ahead, Uncle Larry, this is good, man. Because you were waiting to do the fireworks, right? So right now, I'm going to take you into, I'm going to be Uncle Larry for just a minute. I don't have any fireworks, by the way. Sorry. Hopefully you'll see the other things as fireworks. I want to show you my kids, not the one in the middle. These are my two boys. Here we are, the Pacific. We're at the San Diego Zoo, and the Pacific Ocean does exist. I've been there, so I can tell you that it does. These are all my kids. It's more of my kids. Another one of my children. Another one of my children. A few more. A few more. I don't know if you notice the other big kid in there, too. It's more of my children. part of it, you'll go on the field, you do the part of it, then come off the field. I said, all right. We did this at an away game, the first one. And the reaction from the other band and the other band's parents and fans, gasoline on fire. I'm like, dude, I got to keep doing this. This is awesome. And so the next home game we did it, and what's interesting is that this is a blast. Okay, first of all, because I've learned this dance, and we do this thing out there on the field, and I've got a buddy on the field, and we just had this big exhibition when the band goes. We're in front of all the other bands in the county. This happened at Beecham High School. We just did that, and the assistant band director announces who I am. I mean, out on the field, and the reaction to the stand is, talk about gasoline on fire. And you look at my face there, you can see it. I'm into this. But the only problem I have now is a lot of my colleagues are going, my kids are asking me to dance with them. Cut this out. Keep in mind something, I'm developing relationships with kids, and it's fun. So let's read this again. Just some of you will recognize this poem. Second half of it's coming out. I'll read this. I have come to a frightening conclusion. I am the decisive element in the classroom. It is my personal approach that creates the climate. It is my daily mood that makes the weather. As a teacher, I added administrator because all staff fill boots. I possess tremendous power to make a child's life joyous. I can be a tool of torture or an instrument of inspiration. I can humiliate or humor, hurt or heal. In all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis will be escalated or de-escalated, and a child humanized or dehumanized. The things we do in school make or break us with the kids. It can help make them wonderful people, and can help hurt them. Let's talk about the improvements, the focus on improvements at OHS. Part of it is developing relationships. I want people on board in the school who understand that the kids are they're not something to do something to. They are people. One of the things that talks to my faculty, they've been hearing a lot from me, is that we've got to learn about pedagogy. We've got to understand that kids, no matter what their culture, because their culture is going to add something to it, I'll tell you that in a second, but they're still teenagers. They are human beings that are going through a stage of development. And there are things that they do that are as a result of that development. Some of them have better control of it than others. Then on top of that, you add their cultural background, whatever baggage has been added to them thanks to however their families have treated them, and whatever's going on in their world, whether it be poverty or money issues or other things, in a ward of the state or something like this. And throw that into those developmental stages and whoa. I can't tell you enough about how we've got to learn a lot about understanding the stages that children go through. Personalization of relationships. This is a big part of what we do. We develop the 9th grade and a 10th grade community for those very reasons. I tell them, because district level people like to say things like that's all about raising test scores. And I say, you know what, that's part of it. But the main reason is to develop relationships with the kids. Because I steal from middle schools. I have teams of teachers. And we're trying to force the teachers to learn how to work together. I use those terms because high school teachers don't like to do that. Some of them are awesome at it. And you can see because the kids respond to it. And they'll do anything they ask. Anything. Spend the amount of time during the summer reading stuff before they had even thought about reading. Working on projects, doing things, working on applications for schools that before they would have said it takes too long. Focus on ending student alienation, the idea that they don't belong. I want to say this. These two things right